Hello and welcome back to another video. So this is one that I'm sure a lot of you are very excited about, and is the coverage of the Warcraft movie panel. Now first of all, a little bit of news that I suppose is going to disappoint quite a few of you. There was no trailer. Now there was a trailer actually at BlizzCon. It was a small, not BlizzCon, I'm at Comic-Con. It was a small teaser and the effects weren't finished, but a lot of people suspected that those things would be finished and polished up in time for BlizzCon. Well, there's nothing at this particular panel. However, Blizzard do have a theater upstairs at the con, and in that theater you can see a few shots from the movie. So that's pretty cool, though I've got no idea if we'll be able to see that, because I would imagine that's a kind of closed door affair where, like, you go up, but they make sure you're not pulling out a camera or anything, so I don't know whether we will actually see any in-movie things. However, what we did see was, a lot of talk from the various people. We got a full rundown of the cast and who they're playing, and then a look at some props. So first of all, I'm just going to talk about the various points that the people on the panel, which by the way was David Westenhofer, Chris Metzen, Rob Kaczynski near the end of the panel, and then of course Duncan Jones, who was the director of the film. So yeah, they just talked about some general things for the movie, then talked about characters. I'll talk about the general stuff first. Now then, they said that the movie had been tried multiple times before, but they were never really comfortable with it. That was actually something that Metzen said, and they were having a lot of trepidation with the past version of the movie that was with your man who did Spider-Man, whose name has just literally left my head. In fact, Duncan Jones sort of you could say hashtag shots fired if you wanted to the other director guy. But yeah, basically the way the film was going to be was very human focused and not really giving much airtime to the orcs or anything like that. Well, the Duncan Jones version, they said, is basically 50-50 orcs to humans. So it's like right down the middle, covering both factions, because that's the core of just of what the Warcraft universe is. And of course, because they wanted to start off somewhere that just begins the universe and somewhere that everyone can relate to, they decided the original story, because that's where, well, all the lore comes from, basically. So that's why they are covering the events of Warcraft 1. Now, in terms of other things, I'll just look at my notes here. They said there is a scene in which everything is burning down, in which basically Durotan is in his tent with Draka, who is pregnant, and he's just kind of basically looking upon the problems and what's outside his tent and thinking, shit, this isn't good. So we know that is a scene. In terms of other things, they also talked about effects, visual effects and that sort of stuff. They're going for quite a realistic look, but one that's still got a style. It's kind of interesting. David Westenhofer was from Life of Pi. I think that's probably his most notable work in terms of special effects, and I know it was extremely well received on that front. And, well, I'll show you some some screenshot thingies of Ogrim in a minute, so I think the special effects certainly do line up, and overall they said that it was basically kind of a mix of Lord of the Rings-ish and Avatar-ish effects, which I think is a pretty cool way of going about it. Now, of course, not everything is effects. They said that many large sets were built, including Stormwind. Chris Metzen he was talking about how he stood beside the mailbox in Stormwind that we all know so well. And they actually built it, which I've got to say is pretty damn cool. Now, let's talk about actors. So I'm just going to bring up my notes here. Right, Lothar is played by Travis Fimmel. Travis Fimmel is from the series Vikings, and I think he can probably do the job pretty decently, so that was certainly good to see. Durotan is played by Toby Kebbell, who, I think should work quite well. He was in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, or the new one that was very well received. And on the motion capture front, apparently he's, according to Duncan Jones anyway, that one of the great strengths of him as an actor is being able to work his performance into motion capture really well. So hopefully that should just turn out really well. Obviously, he's playing Durotan, so it's very important that he's an actor that can actually do the character justice in motion cap. Now, Medivh is being played by Ben Foster, which I think can actually work out pretty well, so I'm happy to see that. Daniel Wu is there, but they basically skipped past his slide, and I didn't get to see who Daniel Wu is actually playing, and none of the sites that I've seen have got a role for Daniel Wu, so who knows? Who is Daniel Wu? We will find out at some point, I suppose. In terms of other things, Ogrim is played by Rob Kaczynski. Now, if you don't know his name, you might know him from Pacific Rim. He played your man's son in the other Jaeger that was not Gypsy Danger. And yeah, he was actually there on the stage, came across really well, did did his stuff, I suppose. He gave a quick demo of how to walk as an orc, because of course, if you're doing motion cap as an orc, you need to walk as if you weigh like 500 pounds and are 7 foot something tall. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see him. I've actually, now that I've seen him just at that panel, I think he gets it. The guy actually is in a top 100 guild, or at least was, and has got 500 hours /played, and has been playing ADK since 3.1. So suffice to say, he does have Warcraft chops, and acting chops as well. So yeah, very, very good. Now, Lane is played by Dominic Cooper. That just, I don't know why that doesn't really rub well with me, and a friend of mine was actually, he was in Dracula, the recent movie with Dominic Cooper in it. Now, he wasn't in any major role, he was an extra. Though, by the way, if you did watch Dracula and you saw a Turkish guard bite an apple and then spit it at Dracula, that was the guy that I know. But anyway, he was saying that, it was a pretty, he basically phoned it in pretty hardcore on Dracula, but on the flip side, on Dracula, he just didn't really get good material to work with. So I'm not 100% sure about Dominic Cooper. I've certainly heard great things. I've heard that, if you give the guy good material, then he should be able to do just fine, so hopefully that's what happens. In terms of look, the dude just doesn't look like a stoic king. Even in the render thing that I've probably just put up there. Also, by the way, the render for Ogrim, so cool. Yeah, I don't know, just Lane, I don't know if that's a match. Hopefully what will happen is the movie will come out and his acting will convince me that he is actually Lane Rin, and that will be pretty cool. So in terms of other things, let's see, where are we on the list? Yes, Blackhand is played by Clancy Brown. Fun fact, Clancy Brown was originally going to play Thrall in the Warcraft adventure game that they were going to do, and also Clancy Brown is Mr. Krabs, I believe, so that's awesome, and I think that I just think that'll work, actually, because he's Clancy Brown, he's a pretty cool dude, so I'm happy about that. Now, Khadgar is played by a guy called Ben Schnitzer. Ben Schnitzer is where is he from? I don't know where he's from, so I'm not going to say. He's a youngish actor, actually, but of course Khadgar is not a particularly old guy at this stage of the game, so, obviously Khadgar's Medivh's apprentice, so it'll be, I think, very cool, and Ben Schnitzer's role is actually quite important in, having that whole betrayal or feeling of betrayal go on. So hopefully he really does nail that. Then finally, Garona is Paula Patton. Now, interestingly enough, she's one of the only orcs who is not motion captured. Basically, many of you know what Garona's role in this story is. And one of the things about Garona and, what happens is I think there just needs to be a degree of, just seeing the actor really act. And, apparently Paula Patton just sort of had the, just whatever, attributes to really sort of nail it and sort of be a believable Garona. I mean, I think she's pretty, tall and, imposing figure, so I think that should probably work out quite well once she's all, make-ups and stuff. So, yeah, now the only thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is acting from her, because I saw the thing with Tom Cruise in it, Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol. Wasn't too convinced, but then again, I don't really think she had a great amount to work with there, so we'll just have to wait and see how that happens, hopefully, or how that plays out. Hopefully it will all go well. Overall, though, I think it's a solid cast. I'm happy that there's no AAA, giant list actors. I think that's generally a good thing. If you, just the more that an actor is an excellent actor, but not a giant name, then I think the more believable they can be. It's very rare that you have something like, say, with Frank Underwood and Kevin Spacey, where everyone knows it's Kevin Spacey, but he just acts it so sublimely that he is Frank Underwood. And that rarely happens with big A-list actors unless they are absolutely amazing. So I think for something like Warcraft, it's good to have a lot of these guys who, by the way, yeah, I know, are definitely known actors, but not the sort of the top of the A-list. So I'm actually pretty happy with it overall. Now, finally, I just wanted to mention the various bits of, armor and props and things they had strewn around the place. I think they all look pretty cool, actually. I think it was a nice blend between realistic and the Warcraft universe. Even stuff like the human guard armor, I think, was really cool. So overall, on that front, I'm just feeling really good. And, like Duncan Jones was talking in general about how he, yes, was doing a lot of mocap for the movie, but wanted it to still feel like it was live action. And, he's doing as much live action as he can, and I'm hearing all the right things so far. There's nothing that's really rang alarm bells yet, so hopefully it's going to be a pretty damn good movie. That's basically it for this video, though. That's about all that we found out. Sorry we don't have a trailer. We'll just have to see if anything's dredged up on the internet over the next few days. But anyway, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about the Warcraft movie, and I'll see you next time.